not fits
Nikki's
again.
enjoying
It
this.
seemed to not fit.
It's a new
recently as
season,
3
Nikki.
weeks
Come
ago.
on.
It required some work ongoing.
Okay, ready? We good? All right. Aloha, and thank you for the gift of your time in joining us today. Today, Governor Josh Green and Fund Administrator retired Judge Ronald Ibarra will provide details about the initial disbursements of from the $175 million One Ohana Fund. The Maui Wildfires Compensation Program, or MWCP, was created to offer timely compensation to the families of those who lost their lives and to individuals who sustained significant physical injuries due to the devastating Maui wildfires. Facilitated questions and answers will follow promptly after remarks conclude. And without further ado, it is my privilege to introduce to you Governor Josh Green.
Aloha, everyone. Aloha. Let me first start off by saying we're very grateful to all the people that have worked hard to continue to help Maui heal and to help those who lost loved ones, lost their homes. It has been an incredible amount of work and incredible amount of suffering, especially for those who lost one of their loved ones, one of the 102 individuals that were lost in the fire. Also want to thank and a heartfelt, profound thanks to Judge Ibarra, who has spent this last year working on what is an incredibly complex process that is really not, as far as I can tell, been done this way ever before, where we simply put people's lives who have suffered the most right up front immediately to try to get them resources. Normally these processes, when there's been a tragedy, can take many years. Here we are about a year and a half, 19 months since the tragedy occurred, and we're starting to see some families get resources to rebuild the best they can. But again, many thanks to you, Judge. Judge Ibarra, who was the judge in Kona, which was my home for many years. So I'm going to dive into this right now. So first slide, you can see this is the One Ohana Fund program. We came up with this idea, like I said, because we wanted to first help those who suffered the most. And a coalition of people came together. As you recall, the state put in $65 million in partnership with HECO and others. In subsequent slides, you'll see those numbers exactly. But we put together $175 million so that we could disperse $1.5 million to each and every person who lost someone in their family to expedite it if it was suitable for them, only if it was good for them. So let's dive into the next slide. What is this exactly? 18 months ago, 19 months ago, that was actually the previous slide, go there. Okay, there we go. 19 months ago, real quickly, 102 lives lost, 12,000 residents on Maui were displaced, 4,034 properties destroyed, and at least $4 to $6 billion in estimated property damage. Much of this work has been, explained before. 561 people lost their homes that were owner-occupiers. They're going to be getting settlements in the near future also, and then there's 8,000 local businesses within the disaster area. That's what the devastation looked like, and why it's our mission to help people. But now if you look at how we help people settle their claims and go forward, move on with their lives, now we'll go to the next slide. What we decided to do was to first put the One Ohana Fund in place. That's the $65 million from the state. And we also settled all of the cases, basically the global settlement, which was quite historic. We did that essentially in a year, and that's the $4.037 billion settlement, which was then tested by the Supreme Court, who validated it. Okay, there's still some discussions going on, but they validated it, so it's in place. It was a very significant effort to get all that done, because normally it's like there are fires out there now that are 7 or 8 years out and they haven't settled many of these things. So just we're doing what we can. We're trying to help people. So that was in August 2024, the historic settlement to resolve all the tort claims that arose from the Maui wildfires. 7 defendants undertook significant efforts to find a resolution to help people move forward. Next slide. Just reminding that's what it looks like, the settlement. Over 3.5 years, basically, HECO is paying $1.99 billion, and they are moving forward with their plans to make things safer, and they are doing the necessary things to continue to be our energy partner, and they're working very hard at that. Kamehameha Schools joined us with the same amount of settlement, $872.5 million, telecom, and so on. This covers everything. And we have had discussions, of course, with the insurers. Our local insurers have been very good partners, the mainland insurers less so. That's how we resolve this. But today we're talking about what's most important and where we are now. Next slide. Where we are now. Okay, so committed to supporting everyone who's displaced, anyone who lost anything. But first and foremost, restore Lahaina. And in order to restore Lahaina, we have to get people their resources, their large lion's share of these dollars, and then move forward with all of the infrastructure rebuilding. How do you do that? You give people some resources to rebuild their home, to decide what they're going to do. We are constantly working with the federal government, the county, to make sure that happens. And of course, the legislature to make sure they fund the full settlement, which is $800 million, as you saw, because we've already put in $72.5 million, okay, 65 plus some additional monies, small amount, for the One Ohana Fund. Now let's go specifically to what you came here today to hear. So the Maui Wildfire Compensation Program, it's $1.5 million to anyone who decided to take us up on this. The extraordinary part, as Judge Ibarra may share, and what I'm partially going to share, is many people didn't even need an attorney or just need a little support. They got pro se support. So they decided that was the right thing to do to move on without any delay or legal fees, as I said initially. So $1.5 million will go to the estate of those who had a lost loved one. Again, I know it doesn't cure the pain, but it will help people move on with their lives is our hope. So far, we've had 26 wrongful death claims that were qualified. One was paid already. Then 22 additional payments will be made as soon as the petitions for good faith settlement are approved. Judge will get into that. 2 claimants withdrew, and 1 claim was voided under the program's protocol. Also, you can see there are 9 serious physical injury claims are in the final review process pending approval. This was very important because we wanted to help those who really were devastated most. And what it also does is through June 30th, it kind of ends this phase of things. We will then look at it and decide whether we will have the, judge's team on this again. He is always going to be available to us. He shares for the next phase of the additional people. And let me tell you what that looks like. There are 79 additional wrongful death claims that are going to be eligible. And if people want to use this process, if it suits them, if it's good for them, if it fits what they need, they should do it. If not, we will honor that. And they will go through the settlement and work that out with the plaintiff's attorneys and everyone else. But this is helpful so that people hopefully can move on. And I think one more slide. There is the global settlement process. The state's 800 settlement must be paid and approved by the legislature, and that's just essential. We've been discussing that for many months. A new entity will be established to oversee these funds. The program is designed to be accessible and efficient so that people who are settling can get their money, again, without a 5-year delay or without losing incredible amounts of it to fees. And we're just committed to being fair to people because we have to heal. And that's what this is about. So we continue to stand with the families and the community and anyone who needs support and rebuild people's lives and rebuild Lahaina. So I will pause there. And there we go, just mahalo. That was at the site where we have just the memorials to those who were lost, which is gut-wrenching in every way. But we hope people can heal with some of these monies. Okay.
Mahalo, Governor. Next, please welcome Judge Ronald Ibarra.
Thank you. Aloha, Governor. And aloha, everybody. So last February, that's February 27, I stood here as administrator of the Maui Wildfire Compensation Program in a press conference with Governor Green talking about the One Ohana Fund, and the Maui Wildfire Compensation Program. At that time, I had the protocol and I had the frequently answered or asked questions. The One Ohana Trust was already formed and I was a trustee. The team was yet to be formed. In fact, some of you, when I talked to you, said, well, it's hard to build an airplane while flying. Well, we were building and flying. Our working group at that time was Andy Weiner, PwC, Houston Hannigan, and Ola Maui. At Andy's and the other members of the working group contacts, we formed a team. The volunteers on the team are, number one, Andy Weiner from Virginia and Hawaii. Andy is invaluable in providing input and coordination on all aspects of the program. Some of this including contacting the pro bono attorneys and financial institutions to volunteer their services. Number two, Amy Gernon, an attorney from Minnesota, is counsel to me as administrator. She is the person I rely on regarding legal issues and coordinating with other volunteers. Her experience in these type of programs has been invaluable. Amy would be the person whom I would have follow up with our claimants or other team members. Number three, PwC, including John Thompson, Natalie Simmons, Wesley Allen, who works in D.C. and Pennsylvania, and other firm members who did set up and operate the infrastructure and claims process. They created the website, claim portal, claimant and trust communication, data analysis, and provided professional advice based on their experience. Number four, LitPro's staff, Ben Jenks, and others are based in North Carolina. They work on resolving any liens so the claimants can quickly receive payments. Number five, Nicholas Sanchez of the law firm of Miller Kaplan from LA files the tax returns and provides tax advice for the trust. Number five, Joel Rappaport, Joanne Arizumi, and Pat Silva of the First Hawaiian Bank, where the trust fund is deposited, provide financial information, and prepare documents and wire payments. Other individuals who assist our team are Michael Purpura, Emerson Bursis, and the Houston Hannigan team on behalf of the state. They operate out of LA and New York. Number two, Douglas C. Smith from Damon Key Kupchak Hester voluntarily drafted the trust document. Lahela from Ola Maui has been helpful with connecting the program with community leaders. And of course, our Attorney General, Ann Lopez, who responded quickly to any questions I have regarding my service as a volunteer. Now, pro bono attorneys provided legal information and limited representation regarding probate and legal information regarding the release. These attorneys are Rhonda Griswold, Travis Augustine, Catherine Caswell, Roya Dahim, Elizabeth Jackson, Meg Obenoff, Karen Temple, Eric S.T. Young, Alan Williams, Greg Kim, and Susan Marshall. The credit unions, banks, and financial institutions in Maui offered or provided free notary service to the claimants. As you can see, there are many individuals and entities that were involved in this program. It was just not myself, but there was a lot of volunteers, and I'm sure the governor appreciates that, and I thank them for that. The program is run by team members who are located on the mainland. We communicate virtually by email or by phone weekly or sometimes daily. Interestingly, our team members never met in person. And, you know, one thing I got from this program is I tried to learn as much as I could about my cell phone and my computers, which, you know, was imperative in the communication. Now, the Maui Wildfires Compensation Program began accepting claim registration on March 1st, 2024 on the website. It's just over a year ago now. On June 15, 2024, the registration period was closed. We received 50 death claims and 21 serious physical injury claims for a total of 71 claims. After preliminary screening, we sent out 50 claims forms requesting specific information to eligible death claimants. 14 death claimants forms were not returned for filing. After a review of the 36 debt claims forms that were filed, 2 debt claims were not eligible under the protocol. 6 debt claims were closed because the requested follow-up was not provided. 2 debt claims were withdrawn by the claimant or the attorneys, leaving a total of 26 debt claims eligible and who are provided settlement offers of $1.5 million. After receiving the settlement offers, 2 withdrew, 1 did not respond, and so the offer became voided, leaving a total of 23 debt claims. All 23 debt claims returned and complied with the settlement offers and protocol conditions of payment, which included providing court orders, appointing the personal representative, distribution plan to the beneficiaries, permission to participate in the program, a retainer agreement if they're represented by a lawyer, a signed release, the liens addressed, and the method of payment they chose. A court hearing was held for one of the cases, found the settlement was made in good faith, and this past Tuesday, on March 11, 2025, I'm happy to say that after a little over a year, when the program rolled out, the first payment of $1.5 million was made to the first debt claimant. The claimant represented himself in the program. The remaining 22 debt claimants who have met the protocol's conditions of payment are awaiting one more procedure prior to being paid. This is a protocol condition that the court finds and approves the settlement was made in good faith. We anticipate that these claimants will be paid by June. Of the 21 serious physical injury claims that were registered under the protocol, 2 were not approved to file a claim. Claims forms were sent to 19 serious physical injury claims. 7 claim forms were not returned. Of the 12 claim forms returned, 3 claims did not qualify, and we are now in the process of sending out settlement offers to the 9 serious physical injury claimants. We anticipate these claims will be concluded by June 30th, 2025, which is the date for the end of Phase 1. The Maui Wildfires Compensation Program team members are proud that the purpose of the program, as stated by Governor Green, have been met. This being getting monies quickly to the families, Governor, who are suffering, to help them in their healing and moving forward with their lives. And thank you. And Governor, thank you for that.
Mahalo, Judge Ibarra. We will now take facilitated questions from reporters.
I'll invite the governor up to the podium, and I would like to start with Daryl Huff from Hawaii News Now.
I guess I have some clarifying questions I'd like to go with the judge, but for you, Governor, you know, we started off at 102 people. In the end, it looks like 22. How do you feel about the outcome here? Were you hoping that more people would take this settlement?
I was hoping that people would take what they felt was best for their family. Hard stop. I really wanted people only to do what's in their best interest. There were a lot of elderly individuals that had survived the loss of a loved one, and they wanted to move on now, and we certainly didn't want them to wait for a long time. I think what happened is exactly what should happen. People went through the process, and we made it completely transparent to them that if they felt they'd rather wait until the full settlement was available to discuss, or they wanted to litigate in other ways, they could do it. As you heard from the judge, it's like a really complicated process. Could you imagine any person trying to navigate a settlement one by one by one? It just seems like it was not going to happen. So I'm very proud of the team, and especially thankful to Judge Ibarra and all the volunteers. I think now what will happen is, now that 23 claimants are going to see this expedited relief, I think the other 79 families, it's a smaller number, of course, because some people lost more than one individual. They'll just be able to make a decision whether it's in their interest to do it now, and it should be much easier now that we've kind of gone through the process. Judge?
I agree with the governor that this is just an option. At the beginning of, I guess, last year, we said this program is another option for those that want to participate, and certainly we would like to have more. but, and the governor encouraged us to extend the deadline for registration, which we did, and, but we got 50 death claims and 21 for a total of 71. And, but, you know, it's not for everybody, and certainly we are proud of the program that the governor encouraged to set up, because, you know, most of the death cases, the 23, 15 are pro se, represented themselves. 8 had lawyers. So 15 gets 1.5 million without attorney's fees or other costs, because we review the liens. Because if you don't have the program as a regular case, before you get paid, there's medical liens that have to be addressed. But we address it without any cost to the claimants. And so, while, you know, we like to have more, we feel that to those 23 that are getting the 1.5 million, it makes a big difference. And takes about.
Daryl has a follow-up.
Judge, what was the main reason people declined in the end?
Okay, well, we don't know, only 2 withdrew, only 2 withdrew. And,
I'm sorry, just to clarify, sorry. Of the 79,
71,
not the last 23.
yeah.
Of
The 26, they never filed, returned our claim forms.
And I think he means, like, of the other 79 individuals, what do you speculate is their reason?
Well, you know, it's always speculation, and, you know, I can only say that maybe it's not for the purposes that they seek, and, you know, ours is a set for sum, 1.5 million, and I can only, you know, there's several reasons. Maybe they feel they can get more someplace else. You know, it's only speculation, but that's their prerogative. As I said in the beginning, this is just an option. But to the 23, they're getting 1.5. It makes a big difference, and it's within a year.
I was about to see, read my mind. That I think that because we advanced the settlement quickly, it will likely go very fast now for the other 79 individuals and people who lost their homes and so on. I mean, we accelerated everything by 3 to 5 years. But even so, a lot of people didn't even know that we were going to achieve a global settlement until, you know, by the time they had to go through the process. That's why we're saying, again, we expect in this next phase it will be open to people if they now want to go through this rapid process. And again, it'll be okay if they don't. It's totally up to everyone. If I can be very direct, the worry I always had for people was, let's say that there's more resources for them over time. It could take 2 or 3 years. I would like to see them have an opportunity, if it suited them, to get on with their lives, to see their own money grow, whatever that might mean for them. And so it's just a personal decision, the ultimate personal decision. We just wanted to make these options available.
Our next question is Ashley from Hawaii Public Radio.
So I think this also might be for Judge Ibarra, but once the full global settlement goes through, or if that one goes through, will that impact the amount of funds that this group of One Ohana Fund claimants will get? Like, will they, if the people who are in the global settlement receive more funds from wrongful death, will also the One Ohana Fund people get the same?
So when the global settlement, as far as the One Ohana Fund that I'm the administrator of, is separate. But in the release that they are required to sign before they get paid, there's a statement that says they are not barred or prejudiced from applying to the global settlement program if they qualify, meaning that program will establish its own protocol. So we don't guarantee that they will qualify or not, but it would not bar them from applying.
So you can see it was just a gesture of fairness that we felt, because the only thing we can hope to do is be as kind as humanly possible to someone who lost a loved one. And it is highly likely the global settlement will look a lot like what we've done with One Ohana, but that's why you go through that process, and there's a lot of individual parties. It was almost impossible to reach the global settlement, but it took a lot of faith, because you had to have people agreeing to resolve their differences long before other information came in. We just always felt that with natural disasters, wildfire disasters, people suffer if they don't get to resolution, and that's what we've seen in other places. This is our attempt to get to resolution sooner.
Our next question comes from Nikki, KHON2.
What would happen with the remaining monies of the 175?
Under the protocol, the remaining money plus interest, less the expenses of running the fund, will be returned pro rata to the contributors.
Ashley, as a follow-up from Hawaii Public Radio.
Sorry, for the personal injury ones, how much will they be receiving, or how is that going to be determined?
Okay, so the 9 that we have, the net 9, I review it, and unlike the debt cases where there's a set $1.5 million, the protocol gives me the discretion up to $1.5 million to award the Category 1 serious physical injury claims. And so before I evaluated with the team as far as coming up with a number, I offered to meet with the claimants, the injured parties. I also met with some of them and get to hear their stories, which is very sad. And then using my experience as a trial judge of 28 years settling personal injury cases, looking at the age, how they died, the treatment, and what mortality tables as far as all the things that I use for settling personal injury cases, I come up with a suggested amount submitted to the contributors who will approve the total amount. And once we get back the approval, we make the offer to the claimants individually. But we've already done that, so we are in the process of sending out the offer now.
So we do have Ali'i from KITV4 tuning in virtually and has a question, I think, related to Ashley's. So to piggyback, are we able to confirm a number for the 9?
Number as far as money-wise? Or I rather not.
Yep, that's okay.
Yes.
Just clarifying.
No,
Okay.
Just for clarification, it was up to 1.5 per person.
For the Category 1. That's those that suffering life-altering injuries or physical, permanent physical deformities.
Understood. The next question that Ali'i had is, do you folks know why the 2 families withdrew from their wrongful death claim? Why was the one voided?
Okay, if it's voided, it's because basically you can not accept the offer that we send you by not responding after the deadline. And in this case, March 5 was the deadline pursuant to the protocol to accept, or my offer of the $1.5 million would be null and void. And I have no discretion under the protocol because it's stated in there. And the other way that they can deny or reject our offer is basically withdraw it. And so one did not meet the deadline, March 5th, and the other one, the attorney withdrew. And I didn't ask the attorney, it's their prerogative.
Okay, thank you, Judge, so much. Hang with me here, buddy. So, look, as you can see, we made the decision to engage Judge Ibarra from a lifetime of experience and, my experience with him and his experience with the community. And so I couldn't be happier than what we got, which is a person of incredible integrity and just openness. It remains incredible to me that we just were able to work with people directly and see what was best for them. But the judge was the embodiment of that process. So again, thank you, Judge. And there will be lots of additional updates in the coming months and years, of course. So everyone knows the big pieces of the recovery remain. We have cleared all of the debris. We've begun to settle the cases. The master settlement for loss of life, the master settlement is in place. We remain open to the insurance industry if they want to work out their differences as a part of the settlement. If they choose not to, after we've made multiple overtures to them just to go forward, that's their choice. Now that there's $1.6 billion appropriated by FEMA for the disaster relief money, and an additional up to $600 million for master disaster related problems. So there are funds available. So when we talk about these multiple billions of dollars that we lost as a state, we are recouping them in large chunks. The $4 billion from the settlement, $3 billion essentially that will have come from the insurance industry. That's 7 additional billions of dollars that we've described now from the federal government, and that's how you recover. And then the people have been brave, been very brave, and they've also been kind. Those who lost so much have been kind to everyone involved as we've gone through this. So I'm grateful as a state to have seen some of this through, but there are still going to be steps and stages that people have their own prerogative to make decisions. And I think that's very important. That's the way we do it in Hawaii, that people should work as a family. That's why we call it the One Ohana Fund. It's how we're going to proceed going forward. And it is going to resonate, in my opinion, as we see what happens in California and other places. This approach helps people get to recovery sooner. Doesn't happen immediately, but sooner than in most places. And I hope and expect, after spending a lot of time talking with the governor of California and his senior leadership, they have taken some of our advice, and we continue to learn from others. This is how America begins to heal when they've had crises, and I'm super proud of those who participated. So thank you.